So let's talk to political analyst Rebone Tau as we kick off our program tonight, talking about these developments coming out of the presidency vis-a-vis President Cyril Ramaphosa's health and, of course, the Ankole auction that is happening this weekend. If you've missed the different takes on the issue of the president's health, let's start by hearing some of the views expressed about it.
Unfortunately, it's a bit of a gross exaggeration to say the president is unwell. On Tuesday, he had a minor cold, which did not prevent him from proceeding with his duties. As you saw, he hosted his Ugandan counterpart, President Museveni, and he continued with his duties throughout the day. So it's just been a minor cold. It's not something that will have prevented him to fulfill any of his duties. It's also correct the rumor that there was an announcement that he was due to make yesterday. There was never such an announcement. Should there be an announcement, we will advise in time that there will be an announcement. So it's just a bit of speculation, as you've said, and rumor-mongering on overdrive at the moment.
Analyst Rebone Tau is with me. Good evening, and as always, it's lovely to have you join us in our studio. So you can see public outcry still. You heard from the presidency, but we didn't say there was going to be a cabinet reshuffle, and downplaying the extent to which the president was not feeling well. The public seems to have, or at least by what we're seeing in the places where the public expresses themselves, on social media and so on, a great deal of distrust and an outcry. Why do you think this is, and why the messages coming out of the presidency aren't having the desired impact?
Good afternoon, Iman, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. I think what is the biggest problem, if you look at the challenges facing South Africa at this present moment, load shedding being high on the agenda, and the president at this year's SONA even saying that he's going to appoint a minister of electricity who are sitting in March, and I mean, we're going for, in a day, 12 hours at times without electricity. So South Africans really are at a point where they don't understand why is it that the president is taking long. And while the spokesperson of the president is correct, that they have not made any announcement on when will this reshuffling be, because you've got the Minister of Public Service, Ayanda Dlodlo, who resigned last year. That position is still vacant. You've got the Secretary General of the ANC, which is a full-time position. He was elected in December. It's March. He's still sitting in as the Minister of Transport. We saw him this week during the biannual deliberations with Uganda, him signing some MOUs. And this questions a lot of things about President Ramaphosa, that he always speaks about fighting corruption and so forth, being an ethical man. How do you still have someone who's full-time in Little House, but also has got a full-time position in government? Is he moonlighting or what? These are some of the things that a lot of people are asking themselves. And
it also talks to the optics of it all, whether, he is, and this seems to be where the public discourse is impaled. He's not well enough, is the public perception. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, that he's too ill to make any moves politically or even as an execution of his duty in office, yet he is able to either host or attend an auction which will, which runs into the millions of South African rands. Those optics in a context where our economy is struggling, where families are in abject poverty. Is the president out of touch by even being associated with this? We'll get to the legal part in just a moment, but just optically, given what people are going through right now.
I think that President Ramaphosa seems not to really care about what is happening, in South Africa. And because if he was a caring president, he would have acted on a lot of things. For an example, we saw how the then now former CEO of Eskom, when he spoke about these ministers, who he had approached, and the presidency is just quiet on some of these things. We come from a Zondo Commission era, and it was because of the shenanigans that were also happening at Eskom. Eskom, we know that was part of the Zondo Commission, and the president seems not to care, because when you don't have electricity in this country, investors are not going to come and invest. More people are going to lose jobs. Some shops, I was reading an article the other day, there were those spaza shop, Pick and Pays that were open in many townships, and they've been closed down. The people who are running those spaza shops are even complaining how they're sitting in debts, and the president is just continuing. Petrol is going up, electricity, the tariffs have just gone up, So the cost of living is very high, and the president just continues as if nothing is wrong. I mean, for him to even be seen yesterday at the dinner, when there were reports that he's not feeling well, it sends a very wrong message to South Africans.
And then again, it's the same issue for which there is a legal case. I mean, there were some developments in the Constitutional Court this week, and with regard to the optics, the Rebone report, which found that the presidency did have a case to answer. That's a threat to his leadership. And then he's at this money-spending event. It would be okay if he would, maybe it would have been okay if he was just an ordinary businessman. But this is the head of state. This is the leader of the government at a time of great both financial and other difficulty for the country, but where also big decisions have to be signed off on and made.
Absolutely, it's very unfortunate that the auction I saw that it started this morning at 11 o'clock at the Pala farm. It's very unfortunate that the timing, immediately after the Concord also throughout this case, I think what we want to see now, he's going to approach probably the High Court, because he's also playing delay tactics, but he knows himself that he does have a case to answer, and he needs to answer to Parliament, as the President of the Republic. He's got that responsibility.
Rebone, as you read all of this, and of course there are news reports which the presidency, is dismissing as rumor mongering or exaggerating in terms of his illness. For example, you heard the presidency spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya, talk directly to that. You have what the presidency is saying in trying to mitigate, a renewed criticism of the president in the last week alone over issues that we've just spoken about now. As you read all of these things together, for him to I don't want to say salvage, because there are people, of course, who support the president 100%, but for him to rebuild some of that lost trust that we are certainly seeing, in the public domain, what does President Cyril Ramaphosa need to do right now?
I mean, a lot of people have been complaining that he's not decisive. It takes time to act, I mean, even if you look at the last reshuffling that took place, it took such a very long time to even have that reshuffling. And it's sad because, I mean, you have only a year to go now to next year's elections. And, it has always been argued by some that if President Ramaphosa is not the president of the ANC will lose vote. But the question is, with his behavior currently, is he not going to cost the ANC votes going to 2024 elections?
That's a question we have a couple of months to answer. Rebone Tau, thank you very much for being with us in our studio today. We appreciate your insight.
Thank you.